morning. It is Friday. Goodness, week's already gone. Friday, so let me see. Let me send out my tweet. There we go. Alrighty, so just a few things. Today is the start of the Battle Chase event. There are some new sky remodels and decor that is up for grabs for this event. It's to last until August 1st, so you have about a week to work on collecting the currency, the event currency that you need to purchase all those. And I assume that upon completion of certain quests or objectives or whatever, you'll get a chance at some other things as well. But there's like some interactables. I think it's the crates and the caution gate. A lot of it is faction specific, so you've got Dominion themed items and Exile themed items. And of course, it's Battle Chase, so it has to do with the PvP battlegrounds. So if that's not your thing, well, maybe you can give it a try anyway, just to see, and maybe you get lucky. If not, maybe work out a deal with a fellow PvPer, or if by chance these things aren't bind on pickup or whatever, maybe you can get a hold of some of it via the auction house. I don't know all the logistics of all that. I'm just letting you know that the event is there. It does include some exclusive decor that you might be interested in, so there's that. But that starts today. I assume with the re-roll or the restart or whatever for the day, which would be like noon our time, I think. There's also a reminder, the spring decor pack is back, but only for signature players. Apparently they've started a deal where limited time items or bundles or such that are available to everyone for a short period. Once that period is up, it will be either it's already in or it will be moved to the signature station. So if you are a signature player and in the past you've kind of had problems with not catching a deal while it's available, maybe you went on vacation or you were sick or who knows what, this will be a good opportunity for you to snag those things. From what I understand, let's see if I can find the post about it. Yeah, it says their current plan is that the limited time items that have been returned to the signature section will remain there until/unless they move back to the main section of the store. So while the limited time is not available to everyone else, it will be on the signature station. So like the spring decor pack currently is on the signature station only, but back, come next spring when it comes back on for everybody, I guess it moves from the signature station to everybody's accessibility, and then after that promotion is over, it'll move back to the signature station. Now they say that it will be that way. That being said, if their plans change, they will of course let us know. But this is a new thing, so hopefully it proves beneficial to those of us that are, contributing financially to the game, and having this extra little perk of keeping the availability of certain bits, specifically decor in our case, that we might not otherwise have. And good morning, Poi, and anyone else that happens to be around. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it for little announcements. Kind of got started at regular time today. It's a little cooler. It rained a little bit last night, so that's really dropped the temperature back down. I think we went from 32 down to, well, I think right now it's like 18, 19, something like that. So it feels much, much better. and so I wasn't inclined to start earlier than usual today. That said, I don't know what's in store for next week. I really haven't been paying attention to the weather other than just the coming days of this week. So if by chance it heats up again and it isn't on Wednesday, be sure to be aware that we may start earlier, just depends. Because it's up here in the computer room. Like I said, we don't have air conditioning here, so we rely on fans and the breezes to circulate through the windows and stuff. And so when it gets warm in the summer, like for like a week or so, it can be pretty stifling up here in the computer room with everything running and stuff. So I tend to not spend as much time up here during that period of our heat wave. So just word of caution that if I do start earlier, that's why typically. Okay, so we are back on Parsnips plot for the modular housing, the CBDC efforts. Today we're going to be adding the last little bits, I think. I don't want to overdo it too much, and of course there's other things that I should be working on, and since my time has been kind of limited due to various reasons, typically when we do the stream, that's about all the work I do in housing lately. Is I just haven't had a chance to get in, so I'm falling behind on a lot of things. In fact, there's a project that I'm working with Katia on, and so this weekend I'm hoping to catch up on that part. I am, of course, talking about the miniature golf course. It is fully constructed now, besides the kiosk at the front, which I've been put in charge of decorating. But I've been told not to go too much overboard because the more items there are on the plot, if you like max it out, the likelihood of someone that has a non-top of the line computer might have crashing issues and that kind of thing. So she's asked that I decorate it but not go over the top with it. So we may start on that next week, but I will be looking to test the plot out. She's given me the special add-on for it so that it counts scoring and all that kind of stuff, and I have yet to install it. I'm going to be doing that this weekend, but maybe the first next week during the stream I can get maybe some folks to help me with that. I don't know, because I know some of you guys watch from the comfort of work or home or something and can't necessarily get into the game. But if we can work that out, maybe we can have at least one person come with me to test it to make sure it's working properly. And if not, then I'll be able to inform her and see what can be done to sort that out. But eventually I plan to open it up to the public, and folks that want to play some rounds of golf will be able to do so. But yeah, so also there's another project I'm working on for her. It's mostly her stuff, but I'm helping to craft some of the things. That's another thing I have to do this weekend. So my weekend's pretty booked. I feel like I've been putting off things, but again, it's mostly because of the weather and stuff. But so we're going to wrap this one up today, hopefully, and then start on something else. Either we'll start working on the kiosk for the golf course next week and see how far we go with that. And of course, Wednesday will be the house tours. I believe it'll be Exile's turn. And then, of course, Friday of next week, we'll be doing the special showcase stream for the CBDC, which we will be showing not just my little modular houses, but everyone else that has participated. So let's just get into it. There's really not a whole lot more I want to add in here, but there are a few things that I think might give some folks some ideas for their own. I've been playing around with like window treatments and different materials, going from just the basic 2x4s to other materials that one might not always consider straight off. And then same way with here, just different materials, different ideas. Everyone's going to approach their projects differently, but some ideas, some little tricks and bits like the knobs from the cups and stuff. A lot of people have liked that because it looks like it's like little dialing control things. And so other things that I might do, you might pick up as well. We've even, customed our furniture, the tables, the vase, everything. The only things that aren't really custom in here are the little items on display, and that's, forgivable. If you want to make those custom, it's not that you can't, but I just kind of skipped that part. But you get an idea of like, see how the spoons disappear at a certain distance, that kind of thing. Maybe you don't want something that disappears, so you try and work into something that's similar to it but is visible. Same way with the books for the window treatment. You can see them here, but if you back off just enough, they kind of fade out or are completely invisible at a certain distance. So like when you're taking screenshots, that becomes a big factor as to what is visible, what isn't, that kind of thing. So let's see. The first thing's probably the light fixture that we talked about. The only lighting we currently have in here is that from the fireplace, the two lights in the bedroom, and that's it. We need something for the little dining room area. So I thought what we do is go with just kind of a basic lighting fixture. Now keep in mind this isn't actually lit, so if you want to make it like it's actually lit, you'll have to include an actual piece of lighting decor inside it so that it has some light coming out. Which one you choose will depend on the kind of design that you're putting together. I'm just going to lay this out here. I'm making it a little bit bigger than I intend to keep it, just so that I can kind of more easily see what's going on. Those of you familiar with my Asian themed little mini plot, you'll probably recognize some of this. I mean, basically it's just going to be layered glass. But to avoid having the issue of like having 10 or 15 layers of glass and then trying to group them up and being able to select the leader one, I'm basically just making the general framework, and then later I'll layer it up. It's just easier, I think. Something I've decided for myself based on my, working with it before and the problems I've had with selecting the things. Because if you have multiple layers of glass directly on top of one another, you can set one as the parent, but when you go to select it again, you might select one of those that isn't the parent, and it is kind of irritating. Either you have to move one, kind of offset it a little bit to make it permanently atop everything else, or just do it like this. Oh. Let's see. I think that was part of the window stuff. We don't need that anymore. Now I'm doing this really quick and dirty, so it's probably not going to be lined up just right and all that stuff, but you don't know me, I don't mind the loosey-goosey, messy junk. clear that one, add that one to the set, and then again, you could do this where it looks really even, but I'm going to be eyeballing it just a little bit. I'll leave that where it is. Perfect. I wasn't sure if I could flick it from the outside, but it looks okay. Let's see, I guess I'll do one more pair, the topper. Now, I'm not going to make this completely opaque. You could if you want to have your shade that dark, but I'm just going to do it a little bit, keep it kind of see-through. I think we're doing what, 4 so far? Put it at 5. I think that'll be all right. I lost count. One. One. You could do different designs. I'm just keeping mine kind of simple. You can like turn it, twist it, make little rosettes or however you want to do it. Diamond shapes, that kind of thing. Really get super fancy with it if you want. I don't want to, so we're going to leave it like this. So reduce that down because I don't want to grab the glass from the sink. Let's see if that picks up all of these. Yes, it does. Now I'm going to do it like so. Then I'm going to try and kind of eyeball center it onto, above the table. Probably not going to be perfect, but there are ways to do that a little easier. Like if I was to link it to a pillar that's actually centered in the table, then that would, make sure you line it up perfectly. But I don't know, I just don't bother with that. Okay, and then we need to decide about how high we want it. So about like that feels pretty good. And then decide like what kind of lighting item you actually want to use. So go to the lighting. Now there's lots of things you can use for like shades, lamp shades, lighting shades, chandelier type of things. We've seen them made out of, well, I've got the ones in the other house that's made out of like the dome cylinder type of thing. You could use oh, if you want something more like this, but you don't want to have to deal with like multiples of the glass, you could get away with using like the rectangular window that doesn't have any extra stuff on it. If you can't get a hold of that, since it is a little bit of a rare item, you could probably go with the oh, what's it called? The metal divider that a lot of people like to use for like Asian builds and stuff for the like the rice paper looking doorways and stuff. You could use that as a cheaper alternative, not just um, in, you know, I think it's something you can craft or whatever, but also just the amount of pieces you have to use. There's quite a few here. With the other, you could probably get away with a lot less. So you want something that actually gives off some light. So uh, probably my favorite is the sconce. There's also it's the, well, the hanging lamp is pretty good, but it's renowned. I don't think the lamp gear actually gives off any light at all. The lamp posts, they have, well, of course, their posts are a little awkward. Here's another one. Babe, let's do that one, I think. Gives off a really nice bright yellow. This way. Size that down a bit. And notice the smaller I make it, the less the light is really visible. And that's just the nature of the lighting. If you want something really bright and but small, especially if you have a ceiling that you can sink it down into, you could just use the small ones for the look and then like hide a bigger one up above, and that'll give a little bit brighter light. But I'm hoping that using the two together will brighten it up enough to make it look like it's actually lit. So there, you can see there's a little bit of light shining on the table. It's not super noticeable, but it's close. So I'm going to link the little lampshade to the lights themselves. And this way you can kind of better see how the light is actually moving off of the table and then brightening it up. So that's good. Now we need something as like a hanger doodle thing. So probably the favorite is the hanging chains, but you can use other things. The sparking wire would be good. You just hide the sparking part up inside the roof or the ceiling. Pillars are also acceptable. Actual fence posts, anything that's, you know, got some kind of a long, I mean, even some of the lighting bits, even if you don't want to use them, there's probably ways you could incorporate the like this part here. You know, maybe you could like have the lantern hanging upside down instead of the other way, and that way it looks like a fixture attachment, and then you've got the lamps there. You know, just use several of them and you have this little roundabout thing kind of going on. I think that one will work really good. Let's see. The candles, even though they don't give off some light, uh, they still look pretty nifty, especially like in a rustic type of setting. Like you get the nautical wheel and then put the candles on that. We did that with the tangled pot and everything. Hey, cool. And yes, we do have housing in WildStar. Probably one of my favorite features, which is why I stream it. So, but I appreciate you dropping by. Okay, so um, hanging things things with rope like oh, what's it called? The hanging fruit, the lizard, the noose. There's a lot of things that you could use instead of the hanging chain, but I think the favorite is the hanging chain. But like you could use the hanging cable. The berries would be a little bit awkward because you'd have to really make that really big and upside down. But like there's the oh, what are they called? The wind chimes. They have a little bit of a stem on it. The new firecrackers, the fireworks stuff that have the little sticks. Let's see, I think it's the rockets. Those could be used. Again, you might have to enlarge it quite a bit to get it. It just depends on the length that you can get it to show up. So like this one looks a little bit longer, so you might could get away with it not being as huge. But let's just, for example, yeah, if you're level 14, technically you could get into housing sooner than 14, but only if you snap up the little jump starter kit. Then you get access to housing at level 3. But if you're level 14 and you've gone to the city, your capital city or whatever, you should have access to the housing intro quest, which gives you access. You do like a little introduction breadcrumb quest, and it leads you to your plot. Checking to see how the thing is sticking out the top. So I don't really want to use that. If the roof is a little thicker, then maybe, but I don't think that's ideal. But like the balloon, the only thing about the balloon is it typically has a little bit of a waviness, so the animated ropes and stuff you might not want to use. But I think we'll just go with the hanging chain. The hanging fruits rope's really, really small, so that would have to be huge to make it work. You could use this instead. If I wanted to, instead of doing a double, I could just put that single down there, and that would work, and have that as the center light. I just don't want to spend the renown on it. It's the main thing. Hanging spotlight would work as well. If you can hide the spotlight maybe up in the ceiling and not worry about that, then you have this nice little wiry bit sticking out. So like, I can show it without actually buying it. See how long that is? Look at that, it's just huge. A lot of people like to use that one as like the stripper pole thing for whatever reason. Yeah, as soon as you hit the city, it should trigger. Of course, there's lots of other things that trigger around the same time, so it's easy to overlook it, but you should be able to keep checking your comm. I think that's default the C button, and it'll let you know. But you'll probably get a quest for like the uh, the dye vendor guy and the one that does like the costume purchases and stuff. Uh, the one that gives you the tour of your capital city, that kind of thing. So it's easy to probably get a little bit bombarded with the quests as soon as you enter the city, because you get available to a lot of things at that time. And hey, Cheeky, good morning. We'll see you missed out on some of the best stuff by ditching it. It's really, I know a lot of people like will play the first few levels and then go, well, it wasn't all that interesting, I'm just going to stop. And really, a lot of the better stuff opens up at the later levels. Just see is that. Now that's the spotlight. Remember, it's got a, I can't get out of the door. It's got an actual light, but I've hidden it up inside the ceiling. So we're just seeing the wire there. Well, it looks nice and sleek. It's pretty thin too, which might be to some advantage depending on, what you're using. There you go. So that's just two of the orange sconces and then just some layered glass in a little box design kind of thing. All right, see you later, cool. Thank you for dropping by, and good luck if you decide to give housing a try. The green one. Which one? Which one are you talking about? Anyway, so that's the lighting for that. Again, if you don't want this part visible, just keep layering the glass until it becomes opaque, and that's around 20-25 layers. It's pricey as far as decor count goes, if you don't want to use that, but I think we're doing okay with decor counts so far. I think the last time I checked, we were only at about 800, I think. When we finish up today, I'll check it again just to make sure that I didn't go over it, but I think it should be fine. Now, I'm not really going to go through the trouble of loading up all of the shelves and stuff. The purpose of my decorating is just mostly to give you guys ideas of things you could do, like adding the little bed backboard and stuff with the shelves and stuff. If you don't want that, you can turn it around and just have the little flippy heart thing going on. The space that I've used for the bedroom, if you want more space to actually put like a dresser or a vanity table of some sort, just get rid of one of these, push this bed over, and then you have a nice big amount of space there for that kind of thing. You could put in a faux door and then add on some kind of an extension over here for the bathroom and stuff, that kind of deal. If you want to decorate your table up, usually it's like some kind of, most often I think the folks that do it will go for the rugs. And since this is kind of a square table, you might be tempted to go with the square rug or the rectangular shaped one. Some use these as like the table, the placemats. I've seen some use them as the napkins. Go with the round one and make just like a little center decoration. You could pretend maybe it's an inlay if you want on the table. Just remember that this particular one, this rug here, is not perfectly flat. It is a little bowed, so depending on how you sink it in, it may or may not show certain parts of it, which in some cases can be to your benefit. You know, maybe you want a target on a wall. That would be a perfect little target thing there. But it's like a very slight little mound there. Um, you could just use the item itself as some kind of a decoration. Turn it over and you have like these little yellow doohickeys. Of course, we've gotten into that trouble before where it's like doesn't want to layer just right, but if you want to give a little special design, you could just size it down a bit. Looks almost like a Jewish symbol there. Do it this way. Make that even smaller. There, now you have a little funky design on your table. You can just do all sorts of things, and you can inset other items if you want. If you want to stick with the silver that goes along with that, that's perfectly fine. If you want to just go with the edges, the only thing about the edges of these is that the white part is a little bit lower than the darker part, so you'd have some actually raised surfaces on your table in that case. Oh, the exile one. Excuse me. I don't know which one it would be. There's a lot of ones, the lighting that you can craft. Because I know the one that's actually called the Exile Chandelier. It's got 1, 2, 3, like 5 or 6 actual lights on it. Very similar to the orange chandelier. It's just, you know, looks a little bit more mechanical than the other. But you can really use just about any. It just really depends on you know, how you. I think this one would probably work really well. It's just I don't want to spend the renown for it. Like you'd actually have the little attachment thing. So here I would have to like kind of fake it in by putting something up there like this. Make it look like it's actually got a fixture up there. Not quite centered, obviously. But something like that. It looks like it's got an attachment to the ceiling there. Not really required, but you know, if you want to get into those kind of details, that would be good. Same way here, if you want to really help tie this into this, you could add this design not only here, but maybe to the backs of the chairs. or here in fact. So like say you want that repeated on the bit above the stove, then you would just copy it over and then try and inset that over here. Might be tricky because of just the way the layering works, as far as getting that just right so it's only the bits that you want showing. That's one way to repeat the design. I've seen people like do that with like Orin windows. If they have it in one part of the room, they like to make sure that it's included elsewhere as well. Just so that it just helps unify things. So there we have that little piece duplicated. Okay, so that's part of the kitchen stuff. I think the living room part is pretty okay. I mean, there's other things you could add, like a rug if you want, more tables, a little, like, not a vanity thing, but like a cabinet. Could add an extra cabinet, maybe for blankets or something. The only reason I'm not doing that here is because I want to maintain the space between the walls and the furniture that's already there so that the character isn't getting stuck or floating above where she's walking. That's the main thing that keeps me from adding too much. Is just like here, if I add something along this wall, then this becomes too narrow for her to walk. That's why I say if you've got some similar setup like this, the best thing to do I would say is remove this and just push the bed over to one side, and then you have this extra space to be able to add something like that if you want to. I'm just going to leave it like this. I'm not going to really deal with that. Here we did have the little planter. I could just remove this bit and replace the planter that we had for like the herbs. Just place that here and make it a little smaller than we had it before. How was that seated? Now, if you're looking for details that you can put in the kitchen, there's lots of things that you could get away with. Put in a toaster, a microwave, a mixer, the little canisters, the tiered canisters like, oh, let's see. Containers, containers, containers. Like, or something a little round. Like, I already had a propane tank. Let's just use that. Like, just use the bottom of it as a little canister kind of thing. Position it however you want. And then just tier it down. So this one is at 20, then put this one at 15 maybe. And then the next one at 10. And there you have your little tiered canister set. It's the ones where you have like your dry goods like flour, sugar, salt, something like that. You always kind of see that. You could do over here, this is where your cookbooks or something could go. Maybe have a jar with like the utensils in them. A little cookbook open that's on a stand. A dry rack for the dishes that you've washed. Dry rack is usually like the staircase is real good, just turn it on the side. Some have used the regular staircase, or they use the ones from the decking set. That works. Some just devise their own. It's usually just a slotted, kind of a construction. What else? A cutting board that you're preparing a dish for, that kind of thing. There's lots of little doodads you could add. Instead of using this solid, you could try and make it look like there's glass with things in it, that kind of stuff. Maybe this is where you put all your fancy glasses or your tea set or who knows what. Up here, if you don't want to leave it bare, this is where you could have some hanging plants or just containers, boxes of storage, things like that, some of your bigger pots. Okay, so the porch. Now, the way I constructed the porch is a little oversized, so it keeps it kind of cramped, and you don't really have a lot of room to add things. So I thought maybe we'd try about resizing this a little bit. Maybe give us a little bit more room to play around. I want to keep the eave, wider than the door, obviously. But if I make it a little bit smaller, that gives you a little bit more leeway on what you might can add to the porch area. Now again, it doesn't have to be an open porch. We could box it in and actually give it a full-on roof and just frame it with some glass if you want. There's lots of different ways you could do it. You don't even have to add a porch. You could just have some stairs if that's all you want. You could have a whole wraparound porch if you want to add a little section over this side as well. I think we'll keep it about there. Looks okay, I think. And then we'll just move these in. Right up there looks okay. So I'm just gonna copy that one and then move this over here. That looks pretty close. Now we have a smaller little awning type of thing for the doorway, but that gives us a lot more room to add things onto the porch. What could you add to the porch area? Well, we've seen, for example, over here, we have a little grill and a table. I didn't bother adding any chairs or anything, but on this one, I could envision a kind of a porch swing, one that's got its own little stand and that it swings on. You could add more flower pots, if you want to go that route. Have some ivy on the poles and some bits like that on it. A birdhouse hanging on one if you want. A lounge chair for like somebody that wants to sit and watch the traffic roll by or something. There's all sorts of things you could do with that. But I wanted to mainly show that once you've built something like the porch or something, if you don't like the way it is, it's like originally we had it off to the side and we've just centered it. You can, change it up however you need to, if that's, what you want to do with it. Like maybe some of you would not like that it's kind of overlapping the window a bit. Maybe you want to enlarge this whole bit just enough to get it past that. So like, I don't know if this is separated off. I think it's all, yeah, there we go. Let me check and see if everything's connected. Maybe do a reload. Our little buttons aren't popping up like they're supposed to. I'm going to unlink that one and then relink it to this. And the same way here. I think I actually had these two linked because I was playing around with that, but this is just as good. Yeah, I think that's all of the front porch aside from the plants here. Let's group those up. I don't know if I had them separate, but I'm gonna just make sure they're their own little entity. Because when I went to check and see how many items were in this particular set, it kind of linked everything up, so I'm having to resort that a little bit. This little arrangement, remember, is just a couple of those blue pod planters, a bush in a pot, and then the other two little pot items. And then the vase thingy. Almost forgot about that. Okay, so let's just move this out like so. Let's see. Like, see, that kind of brings it out a little bit more. And then just and that way you have the full view of the window. If you want to make it even bigger, go right ahead. But I think that'll be fine. Just a slight increase there. So now if you want to add some flower trays to the windows, that would be good. If you're wanting to add shutters, that might be a little bit trickier because this is so close, so you might have to extend it even more. If you're going to go that way, I would say just add an extra a section of flooring rather than enlarging the whole thing. I think it'll be the flower pots and everything will look a little too oversized. Now, if you like this particular arrangement, you could duplicate it, make it on the other side, extend it all the way around if you want. So like, I'm not going to get too much on this exterior stuff because mostly I'm, interested in how people decorate the interior. But it is important if you want to really blend your home in, what other things you add to it. Like I say, like with the fireplace, you could actually add a little cap here to represent the little chimney part that's sticking out. Same way with the vent for the stove. You'd have one sticking out here. Maybe you have a cable, satellite dish for the television stuck on there as well. Who knows? It was 17 we were on. 18. Again, remember, if you're using the set manager, if you have a set that you want to replicate, always check the question mark to kind of see what it will cost you. Like this is telling me that for this little arrangement here, it'll cost me an additional 2 gold and some change, but also 1500 renown. I think it's, yeah, it's this here, the one base that I used. It costs renown to include. It's just smart to do that, especially if you're making a set of something that's craftable or that's using items that maybe you have a limited amount of, like their world drops or something. It's very helpful because, well, if you click it, you could go to say place all on link and you don't have everything available. It's not like it's the end of the world, but it will possibly partially give you the set and then it'll just error out. You just get a bunch of errors and the add-on kind of works up and you have to redo everything. But so it's smarter to just check that every now and then if you're working on something, just to double check. So we're going to place it on a link and then we're going to move this way. And now we have that little arrangement on both sides. Easy peasy. Like I said, you can build it all the way around if you want, or just maybe have this right here on either side of the porch entrance. Lots of different things you can do. If you have, say for instance, you've gone like I have and didn't include like a bathroom or a shower or anything, and you want that as a separate structure, you could, you know, put in a little cobblestone path or something to lead to it. I know several of the participants in this month's CBDC have actually set up little plots for there. Some of them are a full plot, others have just kind of segregated it off into its own little corner and you know, taken to using the trees and setting up an actual little scene. I'm not going to go to that extent on this, but just to give you some ideas. So, what could we put on the porch that will look okay? Let's see about fashioning a chair, I guess. Let's see what kind of fencing we have that we can play around. For summer stuff, I think my favorite is probably either the decking pieces or like the white picket fence stuff. And I'm not just talking about those from the spring decor pack. I'm talking about the ones that you can craft. Those are more accessible, obviously. Wouldn't want to use decking pieces here because the porch itself is made out of decking pieces, so it might look a little too monotonous. But just gonna see if there's any other kind of fence piece I could use instead. But when it comes to chairs, lounge chairs, benches, usually you go for things that are relatively flat. Shelves, some of the shelving is good for that, like the metal braided shelf. We made benches with that on the bakery plot in combo with the ladders, which reminds me, ladders are probably pretty good. So like, I don't think we have one. No. Now the only trick is because I don't have I have this raised, it's not hidden. I'll have to think of something else for the edges, but if you want to use the ladder as like the seating part, then you could like throw in your cushions in between that. That would work okay. That's not going to work because The ladder's crooked to begin with, so it's a little awkward on getting it just the right angle. Once you get it though, you know, works okay. So like, let's make a little bench, I guess. Now again, I'm going to get that handy dandy Marauder chair out, kind of help guide me about approximately where I want the height of it and everything. It's not that you have to stick with it, but I usually use it as a kind of a guide. This will be the base of the little bench here. Now again, if you were able to kind of hide what's down below the porch, if you box it in completely, then you could probably do a lot different idea on this than I'm doing here. I will explain what I'm talking about here shortly. So like if I wanted to add like the legs here, I would normally just rotate it down, turn it this way, and then have a little bit like that. But because of the porch, how I've made it, those bottom parts of the ladder will show through. So I have to come up with something different. So leave it like that for a moment. Remove this. You see some pillows. 2-in-1s probably work better in this one because of brackets are already kind of that same shape, but that doesn't mean you have to use them. You can get away with any of the square pillows. Even the round ones would probably work. The only thing about the square ones is the tassels kind of might show depending on how you build the thing. And yes, the porch swing could be pretty good. The only thing about this is this one isn't a covered porch, so you couldn't just attach it to the porch itself like on Turnip's plot. I have a porch swing on hers, and the porch has actually got a full-on ceiling to it, so I was able to hang the chains. If you do it separately like this, you'd have to actually make like one of those frameworks that it would be hanging from. It's just extra pieces, but it's doable. Perfectly doable. Make a rocking chair maybe. Be interesting to see someone put one of those together. But like, say you want a pillow or some cushions. Just find a size that works well for this particular build. Like so. Of course, that one's. Try that again. Didn't save. And for the pillows, usually I rotate some of them so it's a little different on the pattern. And then I alternate those. Again, you use the square ones, there's going to be the tassels, so you just have to figure out how to hide them with whatever you're putting it together with. See, that worked out perfect, little 5 little chairs. So now we need to find something that, if you want, you could do it just like you've built, or we built the chairs. You could do the same with this. So basically, take this one, pull it to the front, and then drop it down. A little floaty. Do this since it's already like that. You got this nice long bench. You did like link all this up together. Okay, is that everything? No. Yeah. So like say, well, you could like fold it as like a little sectional, have it like boxed in like that. So like, that one, add this one. Again, if I check, it's going to tell me I need 4 gold, 50 silver to reconstruct this as another piece. So if you're willing to pay the price for that, then just again, you have to kind of figure out where that is. Now you have a little sectional of chairs, a seating kind of thing. Link that one to this one. We'll lower it just a bit so it doesn't look like it's floating on the porch. You could add the cushions to the backs as well if you want. You don't want to leave it empty. It looks more comfortable with it all cushioned up. You can do it that way as well. I'm just going to leave it on the bottom though, I think. Yeah, like a corner lounge sectional type of thing. Maybe you put a little table here. Um, you could maybe this again. Might be where you have more flower pots, like a little tiered shelf. Um, it has lots of different little potted plants on it. Um, you could mirror it if you want two sections on each side, or you could just change this to maybe this is where you put the little porch swing. So let me get a reference picture because I'm not good with that little instruction bit, but like, yeah, it'd have to be like one of those, like, we'll just grab a 2x4, I guess. We got lots of those. It'll have to be one of those that's got the, I don't even know what angle it should be at. I guess something like this. So like I would duplicate these up or link them up, I guess. And then you'd add the chains here, and that would be what would attach the little porch swing thing. See what else would be on a porch. Mostly you think of like chairs and seating, couches, that kind of thing. Let's see. I'm gonna add a little chair thing here. Yes. Just a really quick and dirty example here. I'm sure there's others that have come up with much better instructions. In fact, I know I have seen those that have put them together a lot nicer, but this is an example. Now I'm putting the back end straight, but later you can, you know, lean it back a little bit if you want a little bit of a less rigid looking. And then you need something for the arms. So take one of these, size it down so that it fits a little bit better, like so, and then just kind of better. Like so, and that's what the chains will attach to. They'll attach to not just here on the back of the swing, but also around here from the doohickeys, whatever they're called. Yeah, that's another, you know, another idea. You could use the benches, especially those that you can kind of work around if they don't have a lot of like leggings and stuff, or maybe you could just kind of fashion a little box type thing. But if you can use the benches, that makes your swing actually functional. Wow, that thing just keeps rotating, doesn't it? Not exact, but close enough. Like I said, you can construct this many different ways. Maybe you want the arms to be completely loose. Like then you get the hanging chains. And again, you could use sparking wires and stuff. I don't know if you can actually hide the spark inside here very well, but that's an option that you could try. Hanging chain, not the key. And it's just a matter of figuring out the size of the chain that you need and all that fun stuff. Once you get that sorted, the rest is pretty standard. Now, because the chain is shorter on the back, because you're only it will be smaller than the one going through the front. So that's the only kind of awkward thing about the chains, because like with my porch swing elsewhere, I actually had it 3 pieces. I had the 2, and then I had a single one joining the 2. So you know, it just depends on how you do it. So I think usually they're joined by a single. Like so. And just the chains are so tiny, it's like becomes impossible to see. You just keep fiddling with it until you get it like you want, and then so like see those are joined, and then you need something, and probably because I can't really make a chain that small and have it visible, I would just go with like the hammer. Do it like this. And that would be my connector between the framework and the thing itself. It also helps give you a little leeway as far as to where the chains attach, in case you don't get them lined up perfectly. So something like that. And then once you get the one side sorted out, you just replicate that over. So like, let's link this up with the hammer, this chain with the hammer. Okay, and then we'll copy it. And again, it's telling me all of that, just that little bit, would be 50 silver to replicate. Like my hammer's not exactly centered. Like right on the edge. So what I'll do is I'll take this, link it to top, same way with this. Cheat and move it over a little bit. And voila, there you have a little porch swing. If you don't like where it's positioned, then just link it all up. Again, I know I believe there's a tool for Katya's. If you set your target, like if I made this particular piece my target decor, then hit the auto link, then anything else I add during that period that it's set, it will automatically link to that. But I prefer not to use that particular function. It's just a preference of mine. But if you feel comfortable using it, it would probably be a major time saver. Okay, so I think that's everything. So then, just to kind of center it. It's too high, and just lower it a bit. Feel like it needs to be higher or lower, that kind of thing. And if there's some bits sticking out that you don't want showing, that happens to be showing, then you can just adjust the legs accordingly. Add a cushion or a pillow on it. It look a little bit more inviting. There you go. Okay, so I think we're going to call this pretty much done. I think I've given quite a few, random ideas for folks that are looking to put something together for their project. Maybe it works for you on your CBDC. Maybe it's something that you decide to use in a different build. Hopefully you found it inspiring. I'll move this out just. Anyway, yeah, I hope you guys had fun with this and continue to have fun with it. I know once the CBDCs are done, you're welcome to do what you want with the projects, be that to get rid of them, move them to some other plot, leave them for others to look at or whatever. I'll be leaving these up for quite a while, I think, until the next major CBDC. I still have plenty of room down in the bunker to mess with it, so not really concerned about that. But yeah, it's been fun. I think we've had a really big response on this particular deal, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do something similar down the road. Not anytime soon, of course, since we're just now having this one, but maybe I'll come up with another shape or design of some kind of a structure that you guys can play around with. Anyway, so just final reminders. There is, today starts the Battle Chase event. Again, there are some decor and like sky remodels up for grabs, so if you're interested in looking into that, there's a thread that discusses it, and they actually have some screenshots of some of the items. I believe it was Cadium that specifically said that the round doors and not the doors, the crates and the caution gate are actually interactable, so they move in some form or fashion. I don't know if that means, well, I would assume if the crate opens, then that means, you could actually like put some stuff in it and people can come in and open it and go, ooh, that's pretty nifty. So yeah, if you're interested in that, be sure and see about participating. It does last until August 1st. You have a full week or so to kind of get into it, or at least get a taste of it if you want. Again, I don't know how the item binding is going to work, if it's bind on pickup or if it's things that people will be able to auction. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in grabbing it and just refuse to get into the PvP stuff. There's the house tours next Wednesday. It's Exile's turn, so I'll be looking at some of those. And then on the 29th, which is next Friday, not this one coming up, but the following one. That's when we do the CBDC showcase, which I'm really excited about. I'm looking forward to it. I've already had some sneak peeks, and what I've seen has been fantastic, so it should be fun. Um, Other than that, I think, like I said, Monday we'll probably move over to my other alts plot that is currently housing the miniature golf course that Katia built. She's given me a copy of it, and I'm going to be working on decorating the kiosk, the little building that's right at the front where you would like pick up your clubs and the balls and that kind of thing. I'm going to be seeing about decorating that, so we'll probably start that next week, and that'll follow us through until the showcases and the house tours. After that, I have no solid plans. It'll just be kind of winging it. Of course, we have next month CBDC coming up, so I'll probably be focusing on that quite a bit. And hopefully it's just as interesting for folks that, are participating in these, that they'll be willing to participate in that one as well. Again, if you have suggestions for future CBDCs, I'm open to them for sure. Can't promise that I'll use it, but I'll certainly take all of your suggestions and ideas into consideration. Like, for example, I've been thinking about doing something along the lines of a co-op kind of challenge where you actually buddy up with a fellow builder and work in some kind of way where you both contribute to the same project. I'm not quite sure how I want to pull that off because I want to give both builders a kind of like an equal feel, like an equal participation, not that someone does one, another one does the other, and not, maybe one only adds a few pieces and the other one did most of it. I kind of wanted to keep it even. I don't know if it'd be like a tag team thing where, the first part of the month, one person is building on it, they get as much as they can done, and the second person comes in and finishes it off, something like that. Or maybe assign somebody like do a mini plot and say, okay, you work the interior and the other one works the exterior. I don't know how we'll do it, but yeah, just some ideas I've been tossing around. Of course, there's always the themed ones that coincide with a holiday or the time of year, something along those lines. I don't want to get too complicated. I do know that because this is probably our most complex thing as far as trying to describe what is expected of you, how to obtain the house, that kind of thing. There's a little bit more logistics involved. So I want to keep it as simple as possible, but still keep it interesting. So we'll see how it goes. But in the meantime, good luck with your projects, guys and gals. Again, you guys are such an inspiration to so many people, and that's why I love showing what you guys have been working on, and hoping it will inspire others to get into it, even if they don't participate in the challenges and such. If it affects their building or encourages them to get into housing, that's a big plus. And of course, thank you guys for all of the support, the tweets, the retweets, the follows, the discussions in the chat, and just sticking with us for so long. I mean, it's been over a year now, and we're still going strong, and that's very uplifting. And I hope to continue with this for as long as possible. As long as we've got things to build and places to see and visit, I think we'll be going forever. Yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'm hoping that the temperatures stay cooler. Don't want them to go back up, but I fear that it will probably do so. But in the meantime, enjoy it while the cool air lasts. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.